Hi, I'm Mike, aka Wolfie. Welcome to the Farm Wolf. Today we're going to be putting a fuel pump on this Ford 3000 gas tractor. And it's the fuel pump that just transfers the fuel from the gas tank up to the carburetor. And this is actually my son's tractor. His name's Wyatt. This tractor belongs to him. So we're going to try to film, and I don't know how good it's going to turn out, but we're going to try to do a little video and putting in a new fuel pump. The fuel pump is back in here behind this alternator, and it looks to me like if I take the hood off, I'm going to have a lot more room to get back in there. I think I'm going to do that and either take the alternator loose and let it hang out or take it off. So I'm going to have to take this air filter housing off and this muffler to get to the 4 bolts to take the hood off. I've looked, there's no clamp on this muffler, or I think it's actually a glass pack. So I'm just going to try to raise it up and off, take this loose, and then take the hood off, and I'll be able to tell more about what I'm getting into. Right there where my finger's pointing, it's underneath this, but right down there, that is actually the fuel pump. So I think my best bet is to pull this alternator and get to it, which I already have the positive of the battery unhooked. So that's going to be my next step. I'll take off the electrical first for the alternator. That I always put my nut back on, that way I don't lose it. This one only had the 1 wire hooked up. Next we're taking off the nut and the bolt for the adjustment where the alternator will swing. We've got that out. I like to put the nuts and bolts back on. That way when I go to reassemble, I don't have to worry about losing them. And this won't be in the way. Next we'll take the bolt loose that holds it at the bottom. That way it'll allow it to swing, and we might actually take it all the way off. Okay, now we're going to loosen this nut and bolt up that holds the base of the alternator on. You can see the alternator's already swinging. I believe we're just gonna probably take it off completely. I had to take that bolt back out so I could have enough room to slide this alternator up and pull the belt off. And I can slide it down and out of the way. And it's hard to see, but there's my fuel pump. Shining some light on it. There is the fuel pump right here. I might even just go ahead and take this whole bracket off for the alternator. That would make it so much easier to get to the fuel pump. So after looking at it, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and take the bolt out and just remove the alternator so that I can get to this bracket a little easier. All right, we got the bolts broke loose for the alternator bracket that holds it on the bottom of the alternator. We're just going to take that off, and that should allow us easier access to the fuel pump. I had to take a screwdriver up in there, try to get all the grease and stuff out of the way. Now I'm going to blow it out with an air hose. This piece acted like it wanted to break, so I held it with a pair of channel locks to break that line loose. So even though this pump is bad, you know, I just didn't want to break it and then make my job harder. Now I got to get the other line. That one broke loose, so I didn't need to put channel locks on it. Now that I've got it broke loose, I'm going to go ahead and just use a regular open-ended wrench. Because the line wrench, I like using them to make sure that I don't round the nut off. But knowing that I've already got it loose, the open-end wrench just makes it a lot quicker to take it on and off until I can use my fingers to get it all the way off. I'm to the part now where I can use my fingers, so there we go. I got both lines loose. Now to get the bolts loose that actually hold the fuel pump on. And if I don't get to film that, I apologize. I don't know if I'm going to have enough room to get in there. So you might see this after I get it removed. I'm not sure yet. I have my phone light here, so I'm sorry about the lighting and the quality of the filming, but I just wanted to show you this. I don't know if you can pick this up in the camera good enough, but that is the fan. The bolt to get to that fuel pump is right here. It's very awkward to get to. There's no leverage between these two places, so if you do get a wrench on, I was already against this point. I couldn't turn it loose, so I had to put a wrench towards the radiator, you know, careful not to get it into the radiator, and I was able to turn it. The other side is even worse. It's where you can't even see it. I'm gonna have to try that again. I'm thinking, if worst case scenario, I've got a stubby wrench, I might put it on there, but if you ever have to take one of these off, it is going to be a little bit of a challenge. But hopefully you'll just watch this and you'll be entertained by it. I realize the lighting isn't the greatest, but on this part you have very little room to turn the bolt out, so just a lot of patience. One bolt out, one to go, but the other one is way back underneath in there. Hopefully my light ain't blinding you too much, but this other one is doable. I didn't have to use a stubby wrench, but you're going completely by feel to get this other side, get that bolt out. So you'll have fun with it. Okay, I've got the bolts removed from the fuel pump. I don't know if I can do this one-handed or not. There it is, one fuel pump removed. Now to put the other one in. Here's what it looks like without the fuel pump on. It goes right down there, but to give you an idea, you can kind of see, hopefully, camera doesn't do it justice how hard that is to get to, but it was a job. Now just to put the new one back in. I wanted to show you this. When you get the new fuel pump, where the fuel lines go in, these might not be in the right configuration compared to your old one. So I'm going to turn them, put them pretty close to that as I can get, and then when I get it installed, if I have to adjust on them, I'll be able to tell more about it when I got it on the tractor. Something to keep in mind if you ever have to do one of these. There is the new fuel pump installed. I just have to hook back up the lines. I did on this other side. I was able to use a ratchet wrench. The other side, I couldn't hardly get the ratchet wrench to work, so I just had to use a regular open-end wrench and the box-end wrench, a combination wrench, I mean. I used the boxed-in wrench. Just a little patience. The backside bolt was a little bit shorter, so it made it where it wasn't as bad. These, I might have to adjust them to the side, you know, one way or the other to get the line to fit, you know, straight, those two. But that's basically how I changed this fuel pump on this Ford 3000 gas. Here we are. I got the fuel lines hooked back up. Now put the alternator back on, tighten up the fan blade, and go from there. It's actually the next day. Yesterday when we were working on this, we had some places we had to go, so we had to cut out early. I put the muffler back on just so it ain't incredibly loud. I don't have the hood on yet, but we're gonna try it and see if it starts. And here we go, the running tractor. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope if you ever have to change a fuel pump on a Ford 3000, maybe you'll find this video useful. I wanted to make it because I am used to Farmall M's and H's, and they have a gravity feed system. The fuel gravity feeds from the tank to the carburetor. I just assumed this is how this tractor was. When it quit running, I checked it for fire, make sure the points were firing, made sure it was getting fire through the plugs, checked all that. Then I went and checked my fuel, and I could see that fuel was running out of the tank, but I had to trace the hard lines around, and that's when I found out it had a fuel pump. And I broke the line loose from the carburetor and cranked it over and could tell it wasn't pumping fuel. So I went through all my steps to make sure, you know, what was the problem. And it was a bad fuel pump. That being said, that's why I wanted to create this video, because there might be people like me that didn't realize a Ford 3000 has a fuel pump. I certainly didn't. I was used to the older model tractors. I looked online to see if there was any videos to show how to change the fuel pump, because I'm one of those guys, I like to look at how things need to be done before I actually tackle the job. I don't have a book on the tractor, which would have been nice, but after searching online, I couldn't find anything. And, you know, I just had to get in there and do it myself, and I thought it'd be helpful for other people if they saw a video. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it's helpful to you. Please like the video, share it, subscribe. I'm Mike. I'm also known as Wolfie, and thank you for watching The Farm Wolf, and have a good day.